Let's see.
And you're like, are they on air drinking?
Yes.
What?
Yes, we are.
What? Yes, we are.
Happy Cinco de Mayo, right?
Happy Cinco
that's what
de
you
Mayo.
said. Cheers.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yes. It's not tequila. But
No,
wine,
it's not.
but wine will do for right now.
Wine will do.
Wine will do for right now.
I love my wine.
It's a beautiful day. Beautiful day in the neighborhood. You know, that's even a whole different thing. It's people are coming on. We got a few people coming on.
Welcome.
Hey guys, come on in. Good to see you guys.
Come on in.
And I'm Dr. Sonya Sloan, orthopedic surgeon, mom of 3, wife of a pastor. Hide the wine. He doesn't mind me drinking a glass of wine for lunch, per se. And I have the beautiful, illustrious
Lora Rosemon, founder of Jolie Ide. Beautiful mind. I have the best mentor ever, and I'm just so happy that we are here.
I love the video. So she's on TikTok. If y'all are not on TikTok, following Lora. And she had the, what you doing?
Hey.
Where you at? You got plans.
Don't say that.
I'm drinking wine. I need my mentor, right?
It's crucial.
I think it's very crucial.
It's crucial, and especially now. I mean, even bringing up mentor, mental health, mentor. I need it. I need it in my life.
Yeah.
I say a recovering overthinker, but I still overthink.
You think so?
I do at times. I push through it. I will push through it, but it happens. It still happens.
Who's on here? Oh, nurse,
Really
I said hello to you. I have my nurse therapy. Y'all are on. Y'all share it. We're talking to people today.
Yes, hit that
Yay.
share button and get everyone on today.
Yes. So we are doing. So you guys know, other than it being Cinco de Mayo, it's also Nurse Appreciation Week. We have several of our nurses on today. Thank you guys and appreciating you. I tagged you in a post because I think it's so critical to say thank you to our nurses with Nurse Appreciation. And tomorrow specifically is Nurse Appreciation Day. And my mom is a nurse, 40 plus years. And we'll talk about a little bit of that, how that influenced her to even go into healthcare. My mom was due to mental health. So something people don't know, you know. So we're talking about, you know, casual conversation about mental health, and people don't realize how big this is in America and how serious this is, and that, you know, it's touched you personally. We have so many people in our congregation at the Luke Church that it touches as well, and then our own family members. So 1 in 5, you guys, 1 in 5 Americans has some sort of mental, you know, disorder, mental health issue. It may not be a major diagnosis, but it can be even just as mild as seasonal depression. So that is things we have to go through that we don't realize, but it affects 44 million Americans. 44 million Americans. That's a lot of people. That's a lot of people. So a lot of people don't know your story. A lot of people don't know your story. And I think it's critical, not just because of what your past is, but also what has brought you to today in a beautiful mind, and not overthinking and releasing the bullshit.
Releasing the You heard that? Unlearn the BS. Releasing the bullshit. Oh, okay. Nothing goes untouched around here.
I know.
So, yeah, I was just having, when we just kind of linked up just now, I was just having that conversation about it. It's the 10th anniversary of losing Latrice. The 10th anniversary, April 20th, of not having her in my life. And
they look like twins, you guys. Like, if anybody
my
knew
baby looks like her.
Yes. So if anyone knew the two of them, they were like twins. So
Yes.
to see one, you saw the other one.
Yeah. And the thing is even with her and dealing with bipolar disorder and ultimately committing suicide, I went through my own struggle with that. But before I even get into that, I just want to say that it's just been 10 years of having the conversation of mental health in my life, okay? I don't mind saying I'm 40 going on 41. Only 10 years of my life have I had the conversation truly about what mental health is, understanding mental disorders, understanding suicide without being judgmental towards what it is.
Yeah.
And I think that is absolutely crazy.
But even knowing that she had this disorder and family was dealing with it, y'all never talked about it?
We talked about it after the fact.
Gotcha.
We had no idea prior.
Yeah.
So when it hit, it was almost like trying to cram so much information in and trying to understand. And I don't even think that it was about trying to hide the conversation prior, not knowing. I think it was just not knowing. It didn't affect us, so we didn't have the conversation. The hiding part came after finding out because of her.
Yeah.
She was in denial. I mean, she, AKA, real estate broker, traveling. I mean, that was like a huge contract she had over her head of setting people up with their house and stuff. And so for anyone to find out that she was dealing with bipolar later on in life and knowing who she was in denial. And so it was something that we kind of felt we had to do for her sake, was to hide it and just deal with it the best way we knew, which was not the best way to handle it. I don't believe. I think things could have been different. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. It's not here nor there. But I do believe things could have been different had we been able to talk about it more and understand to seek more than one professional assistance or help if needed be, if that's not the person for you.
And that's a great point, because I'm actually writing a blog on this now that is basically about getting a second opinion, you guys. There's so many times in the healthcare industry we don't trust the person for various reasons, or you don't get along with that person, or there's not a great communication with that person. You guys, there are so many healthcare providers out there, not therapists, doctors, nurses, or whoever it is. If you don't like one, get somebody else.
Please.
You hear me? Like, if it's a serious diagnosis, if it's a terminal illness that they're talking about, or there is not a great communication or relationship with you and your physician or your care provider, whoever that may be, find somebody else. Okay, get a second opinion. It is your life. It is your body, and that was definitely part of this story.
Definitely
getting a second opinion. Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but here we are.
Here we are.
We're talking about it, and another point is after losing her, we all get in our head, and I began to think about how I thought my life was supposed to be. And that's where I became affected with this whole, I guess you could call it the poor mental health side of things, because there's positive mental health, poor mental health.
So what was that?
It was me dealing with replaying the same story of what I thought my life was supposed to be. It was going beyond, I understand we have to grieve.
Yeah.
We have to go through that whole feeling of loss, the guilt and the blame,
The
and all
anger,
the anger.
denial,
It's like a whole
acceptance.
process.
Yeah.
But then how long does this process really have to last? I do believe it depends on the person, but I also believe once you know that sometimes we hold ourselves in
Hostage.
suffering
Yeah.
longer than we need to, if you know that, then you're actually okay to let go of some of the things that you're still holding on to. And I was
good.
holding on to some things of guilt and shame and feeling like I should have did something better, and my life was supposed to be with her, and she was supposed to be here with my kids, and it didn't go that way, and I had to learn to let that go. And I did not know that until
It's a
researching and looking into
process.
wanting the shift, wanting to come up out of it. You got to want to heal. Does that make sense?
It totally
I'm
makes
talking
sense.
to the doctor here.
I'm
You got
listening to
want
these
heal.
airplanes flying over them. Like, it's just confirmation for me every now and then. It's like someone else is listening. Maybe, who knows? But,
Right.
she can send signals too. But for so many of us that have watched you, that know you personally, and we've watched you come through this, from the grieving to even trying to educate other people. Like, you had a whole nonprofit that you tried to educate other people, and then you came out of that, because then it was like, okay, enough is enough.
Yes.
And I'm ready to live now. And
Yes.
and what did that look like for a change in your mental health?
Oh my gosh. I actually, it was like the hugest weight lifted to let go of. I'm not going to say the story of Latrice. That is always there.
No.
That is a part of
Yeah.
that is
It's
a part of my
ingrained.
life.
Yeah.
It is there.
Yeah.
But to actually wake up and say, I can live, and I'm living, and I've made it through it, that is a beautiful thing. It felt so good. Like, I feel so good right now, and I know sometimes when you're in that down spot, you cannot see that feel good moment. You can't see you coming out of it. But when I came out of it, it was just kind of like this aha moment to say, I'm not here meant to suffer. I'm not here meant to live in the same past, old self-image, the old story of what I thought my life was supposed to be. I'm not here to live Latrice's story. She had to live her life for herself, and that's something that I had to take in as far as the suicide. That's something that people judge. You look down on people. Oh, you really didn't think you didn't. when I thought of suicide, I thought of, prior to truly understanding what it was, I thought it was kind of like you just gave up, like you just give up, like, or you're just crazy, or, you know, all these other thoughts of it just wasn't a good look.
Yeah.
After losing my sister to suicide, I had to realize, I mean, it was a battle that she was dealing with.
Yeah.
It wasn't truly who she was. It wasn't her character. She loved life, but when it comes to the mind, I mean, the mind is something completely
powerful.
It's completely
So
different.
powerful.
And if you're not taught or shown or understand how mental health affects you, I think early on, I think it's more difficult when you're affected later on in life, as you have built your life, per se. Like you've built where you think you're supposed to be, and now you have to deal with something that you're not used to dealing with.
Well, we talk about the fact that right now you've introduced it finally to your children.
Yeah.
So that's a huge step.
You know what? The crazy thing is, we went to the site April 20th, and Miranda, she's 8 now, and she looks and she's like, she really took it in this time. I think this is the time she really took it in, because the graveyard, it was a playground for them. We're gonna run and we put flowers and we don't really get it. We'll ask questions, but this time she said, that's where I got my name from.
Wow.
Miranda, and they call her Tanti Treese. And so they've been asking questions ever since they could ask questions when we go to the graveyard. And I felt initially it was like, ugh, like I don't want to have this, and then it was like, no, I do want to have this conversation. So every time they asked me at every different age, I gave a little bit more.
Gotcha.
I gave a little bit. Tanti Treese was diagnosed bipolar disorder. Her mind didn't function the same as how ours did. Tanti Treese dealt with suicide. What is suicide? Suicide is something when your mind, it tells you one thing and it's not really who you are. And she took her life, but she really loved life, and it wasn't truly who she was. I have to explain it in ways that it comes to me naturally in that time frame. I'm a mother. I don't know it all. You can find resources more on how to talk to your children, but I just felt like, if I'm supposed to say it, allow it to come out of me exactly how it's meant to be. And whatever I need to shut down at their age, shut it down.
Yeah.
Don't let me say more than I need to say, because she has asked, well, how did she do it? And I have to shut that down. I'm not ready for that conversation yet. Yeah. But at the end of the day, they understand mental health. They understand suicide to the level that they can. They understand bipolar disorder. They understand death. And they understand, as they're living, how their mind and how their heart works. Wow. They have questions about their mind and how their heart, like my son will say, I'll ask him, are you thinking with your mind or are you coming from your heart? And he knows how to say that. The other day they were in the back of the car and Mimi was having a fit. And he told her, you're just letting your mind be in control right now. You need to breathe. And I turned around and I said, son, where did you get that from? You? I said, give me some. And she just couldn't take it. She was upset about it. I'm not going to lie. She was like, you're just trying to get on her good side. And I'm like, Mimi, he's making perfectly good sense right now. So we're going to roll with it. You need to breathe, girl. You need to breathe. And I love when
you
those
guys
moments
need to
happen,
breathe. Y'all
right?
need to breathe. Y'all need to breathe.
I love when those moments happen, because it just lets me know that they're really taking in what they can take in at their young mind, at their young age.
I think another thing is that some of it's genetic, and so we don't account for it. We all had that crazy uncle, that crazy auntie, or whatever else. Well, mine personally was my grandmother. And so my maternal grandmother, and a lot of people don't know this, was a paranoid schizophrenic. And so it took us, the cousins would be over there during the summer, and there's, how my mom was one of 8. So all the cousins are sort of the same age, and we would be at Big Mama's house during the summertime, and it wasn't all the time or whatever, but she was a functioning paranoid schizophrenic on her meds. And so, having 8 children, I think would definitely make some people crazy anyway, but she has, we got the love bugs are out, y'all. We function in a capacity where my grandmother would lay in her bed and drink her coffee and smoke her Pall Mall cigarettes, and we as the kids would run around the house, jump in the bed. We'd talk to Big Mama, but Big Mama would pick up the phone and she'd be cussing somebody out, but y'all know the phone never rang. It was like she was hearing things, she could see things, and we didn't think anything about it as kids, because it wasn't taught to us that was bad. We knew it was different, but we didn't we didn't labor in that. Like, we didn't hold on to that. And then so we got to, like, we were 40s, my cousin and I, one of us. And I said, do you realize we functioned with a paranoid schizophrenic that, like, basically in the household took care of us, fed us, or whatever else, and we took care of her as well. And we just didn't even realize it because it was part of life, specifically in black families at a time where mental health was a bad thing. It was considered negative. It was considered, you know, you didn't talk about it kind of thing. And so there was the stigma attached to it, which we've, you know, talked about, that I think we've done a great job in the United States, in communities and hospitals and churches and that kind of thing, of bringing people out of the stigma of mental health being a bad thing. It's like, it's a disease just like cancer. It's a disease just like hypertension, and you have to address it and be educated, be aware. Everybody's different. Some people use different modalities, including medications. Some people say different types of therapy. But whatever it is, I think we've done a better job in the past 30, 40 years, I'll be 50 this year, of changing the narrative for people and families and friends who have to deal with mental health. And it's awesome, actually. We're at a great time.
I agree. I agree.
Now, we have to deal with mental health in the light of COVID.
Yes.
That's a drink. I'm sorry.
Yep.
That's a drink.
That's what she said.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Friendly reminder, take a drink if you got one too, it's fine.
We haven't even begun to think about or talk about the ramifications of how COVID and this pandemic have played out for people, not just in the United States, but around the world. On us personally, as a doctor, healthcare provider, as parents, and our children, you guys. We have no idea what this is about to do. It is considered, you know, now we're in a COVID fatigue scenario, which basically really talks about fight or flight. You know, it's like you don't know what to do, but there's something called fawning, which basically you're sort of frozen. You don't know what to do. And that's what we've been sort of held almost captive for this past year. And now people are starting to come out of that with the vaccine. We're both vaccinated. And we're coming out of that fawning where you just feel helpless and hopeless. But what that is, it is due to trauma. So we're in a mental health type of situation of post-traumatic stress disorder of everything that has happened to us that we never thought would have happened. So this is a time to talk even more about mental health, not just this month, but the next several months, and getting therapy, getting your kids therapy, and thinking through these feelings and emotions. I mean, I don't know, how did you feel about this whole time?
I mean, I think self-awareness is huge, but I'm not gonna lie. For me personally, I actually didn't mind sitting down. I know it may sound crazy, but I've always been called an extrovert, and I turned into an introvert. I was like, I'm actually fine being in the house.
Me too.
I'm breathing.
Yes.
I'm focused on other projects.
Yeah.
And so I thought that I was going to find myself in a state of drinking more because, we're home. And I actually stopped drinking more so. And I started focusing more on me. And I think I even started focusing more on breathing. And that's why I started doing like more of the videos. Like, I know this is a tough time where we feel like things are taken away from us. But this is it's almost like a wake-up call. What do you do when all of the worldly things are taken away? You have to understand where to resort to. Yes, therapy. Yes, get you physician. Go to your primary care if you don't know where to start. But also taking time to do that inner work. And meditation is a huge thing for me. Even if it's, I call it walking, talking, moving, living, breathing meditation, where the things that I don't like to do, that I don't care to do, especially being in the house, working from home, folding clothes, them clothes are there. Okay? So I took the time. I took the time to breathe through folding clothes, to recognize what was going on in my mind. I'm telling you, and so
try that.
It really, it did work. It was like, you know what, you got to get it done. You're going to be mad at looking at these clothes here if you don't get it done. So you might as well breathe through it and clean this little area right here. But for me personally, you know, I sometimes feel bad saying it. This time actually took me to the next level of waking up to feeling even more good about myself.
That's good.
But I hear a lot more of anxiety and that whole, like, I don't know what to do. And now people are coming back out. And there's some people that don't know how to come back out. Like, I don't even know how to act to be around people anymore because I've been, you know, locked away for so long. my kids went nuts. Mom, please let me go to school. Please let me go to school. So we tried the Zoom thing, and I just had to pray about it.
Send them on.
And send them on. I just had to say, you know what, whatever's going to happen is going to happen, but I'm not going to put my kids in a position to sit here and go nuts with their mental health, driving them up the walls because they don't have some type of social something going on.
And it was very important for kids. Their psychosocial was very, very important. And so balancing that out of like what is important right now and how, you know, that they were, some people definitely believe safer than we were. So, you know, it changed. I mean, when we sent our kids back late October, finally to live, it helped my mental health and it helped their mental health, definitely. So I saw a change. I definitely saw a change. My kids were depressed. They were very, felt defeated. You know, it was almost a hopelessness that I think a lot of us had. And so it was like they just needed a hope, a glimmer. And even they were more traumatized with anything that was like pulled back. Like, it's like you pull it back and, okay, you can't go because, you know, COVID or things were canceled and all this other stuff. So now we're getting into some, you know, some positive things, and life is starting to happen, and people are outdoors, and, you know, people are getting vaccinated, and we're trying to get back to some sense of normalcy. And I think we're definitely going to still have to address the psychological effects, of the mental health part of what COVID has done to us. Definitely.
And I think that's just this right here, opening the conversation to say it's okay if you are not right now, if you don't feel good about this moment, or even just becoming aware that you may think you're good, but deep down in the back of your mind there's something rolling, and it's some untouched issues from this whole pandemic realization of life is actually changing. It's no longer going to be like it used to be. Our normal, I mean, we have gotten used to it, so it's a new normal now, but in the beginning we were like, no, take me back. It's never going to go back. And sometimes if you don't talk about it, if you don't share about it, if you don't speak up about it, if you don't journal about it, you'll let that fester in.
Wait. Speaking of which, so my mentee has a workbook that she does, you guys. It's called the Selfish Workbook. Just in case y'all haven't seen that. Where can they find this? Because this thing is awesome. I love it. It's
awesome. Well, today I am going to share with you, I am just about to release the hard copy. I'm super excited. You can download right now. If you want to download it, and you can go at your own flow, create your own way of how you want to flow with it, print out as many copies as you want. But I actually am going to be uploading to the site new hard copies for you to actually have in hand. It is your workbook, and you can go through it, and you can find it on jolieday.com. You can click that link in the bio. It's right there. You'll see where it'll send you to the site, or Etsy. And I'm so in love with this because I redid it. It is a remake because when I first started it, I was in a different headspace, and I wanted to make it go a little bit deeper with your self-love, your self-discovery, your self-reflection, your to-dos, your weekly logs of how do we get things done but still not overwhelm and stress out about it. How do we get into this flow of life that really is true? What do you think about the flow of life? There's truly a flow.
There's always
when you surrender and let go, and I know sometimes that's the hard part.
That's it. That is the hard part.
That is the hard part. Is
letting go
of a lot of things.
And you talk about how to let go, how to breathe, how not to hold on to certain things. The affirmations in here are phenomenal, along with your cards that I love too. She has great cards on Etsy as well. But this is something that is for you, and would be even a great Mother's Day thing. But kids, you know, letting children read this. And true story, we were out and we were talking, doing some strategizing one day, and this girl walks up, and she basically sort of saw the book, and she's sort of eyeballing it. And I said, you know, why don't you look at this and tell me what you think? And this girl goes away. She's early 20s, female, and she comes back, and she was almost in tears. She was like, I don't know who you are or how you guys, you know, got here to where you are today, but this was exactly what I needed at this moment. And it was that she needed to be affirmed. She needed to be able to breathe. She needed to be able to let go a lot of the BS that she'd been taught, as well as what she was holding on to be able to excel and take it to that next level. And it was like chills still, that we get chills, because she was like, thank you for that. And it was just like right place, right time. So you just never know what people are going through.
Right.
You know, you never know good days or bad days. People hide things, people don't tell you things, whatever, but sometimes you can sense it. So just be in tune with other people and what they're saying to you guys, what they may be going through. Check in.
Check in.
We talk about checking in on people, friends, and
listen.
Yeah,
Listen. Listen to your friends. Listen to your loved one. Listen to your children.
Yeah.
Okay? They'll tell you. I know that's one thing with the kids as adults or as parents. You shoo them off, and I'm the parent, and no. What I say, but it's a new day and age. You got to hear what these kids are telling you because they're telling you, or you have to see how they're acting. You know these patterns of your kids, and when something is not falling into place, it's not that they're possibly wanting to act out or be bad. It's something that they're trying to get your attention about. That you need to open the conversation.
Yeah. So, and I think the other part is that that's not just for the kids; it's yourself. I believe everybody needs a therapist. Let me tell you, everybody needs a therapist because spouses or significant others are great. You need to drink on that.
Everyone needs a therapist.
Happy Cinco
de Mayo. Everyone needs a therapist.
You need a therapist because there's some things you just don't release to colleagues, to family members. It's a different feel. It's just a different feel without the weight of worry or concern of being judged and that kind of thing. So get yourself a therapist, a psychiatrist. Let me make this clear so people know a difference between a therapist and a psychiatrist. A psychiatrist is a medical doctor who has the right to also capacity to write prescriptions if you need it. And it's usually a longer term kind of thing. A therapist, a licensed clinical therapist, is someone that can actually give you tools to work through things. And I think sometimes you may need both, because you may have a legitimate diagnosis of depression that is, or bipolar or schizo or whatever. And you need that as well as the therapy for the sessions to work through who you are and what you're doing. So you guys get a therapist. Get a therapist just for the release. If it's nothing else, just to get through this post-COVID, or we're still in it, COVID thing and the traumatic mindset we've had, the COVID fatigue. All of us have childhood traumas. All of us have childhood traumas who have shaped and molded who you are and your thinking, and maybe even the BS.
Yeah.
So unlearning the BS, which is something that Lora talks about all the time. But we just wanted to come on today, be transparent. Of course, I'm the mentor, loving on my mentee because she's been through so much, but she has so much knowledge to share that people have no idea about. And even as she grows and things are changing and she's getting busier and that kind of thing, her heart is still pure. Her message is still the same, and it has always been the same. Different levels of who she is, where she is, and why, as well as I think a lot of us. Different phases in your life will have different things. There's healing phases, there's growth phases, there's stagnant phases, all of that plays into your heart, you said your mind, your body, all of that. But embrace it all, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. And I think if we leave on anything about our mental health today is breathe, and love yourself. That's all we can do, right? What do you think?
I love it. I mean, I'm speechless.
We're gonna breathe now.
We're gonna breathe. Breathe and celebrate Cinco de Mayo.
Yes.
No, I mean, I think that you said it all. Love yourself. How do you love yourself? You find the joys. You look for the things that make you feel good. Even on the days that don't feel good, you look for those things. They're there. They're there, even if it is just waking up and saying, okay, you know what? I am thankful for this. You've got to find the joys, and you have to do more of that. All right? You find yourself around people that don't bring the joys out of you, then you have to disconnect from them, okay? Release and let them go. It may seem uncomfortable at that time, but trust me. How many times have you been in a relationship that you've been in and you finally break free and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? How did I stay in it for... Like, you just wake up. It's that, okay? It's that. Those wake-up moments come when you understand the joys that you have within.
Yeah, I need 10 of these books. I need 10 of these books.
Y'all go get it. It's
Yeah.
perfect Mother's Day gift.
Perfect gift, you guys.
Perfect gift, period.
So-
Self-love is crucial.
Self-love, enjoy your day, share the things about mental health that you know, and check in on somebody. Just check in. Ask them how they're doing. Ask them how they're doing, because you just never know.
That's simple. All right. Until next time.
Happy Cinco de Mayo.
Happy Cinco de Mayo. Yes. All right, get you on out of here.